Hello everyone. I'm very happy to have you back on my channel. In today's story, everything no longer stays within the familiar slices of everyday life. No longer just simple images, repeating day after day. But instead, there is a very clear interweaving between two lives, two circumstances, two directions that once seemed completely separate, yet are now existing side by side. Quietly, and in contrast, on one side is Tusan, a life without sudden changes, without major upheavals, without anything that turns everything upside down. Just a steady rhythm, stable and clear. On the other side is her ex-husband's family, not appearing directly, not noisy, yet existing like a parallel line, carrying completely different elements, creating a contrast right from the very beginning. At the start of the story, Tusan continues her day in the way she has grown used to. No rushing, no urgency, just familiar steps. Walking into the garden, beginning with harvesting work, the sapodilla fruits hanging on the branches, now ready to be picked. She doesn't rush. She doesn't do it carelessly, but chooses very carefully. One by one, the ripe ones are kept. The ones not ready yet are separated, taken home to ripen. A simple process, but one that requires observation, patience, and understanding. It's not just about harvesting, but about knowing what should be kept, what should wait, what should be done now, and what needs time. That work, at first glance, seems nothing special, doesn't feel grand, doesn't attract attention, but carries a very clear meaning, very practical. It is about being proactive in every small task, not depending, not being passive, not waiting, but deciding for herself, doing things herself, controlling things herself. And from those small things, day by day, without noise, without big leaps, there is still stability. A kind of stability not everyone can have. Not wealth, not abundance, but enough. Enough to maintain, enough to continue, enough to not be swept away by sudden changes. The surrounding space remains unchanged. Still the same garden, still the same familiar rows of trees, still the same repeated work. But within that repetition, there is no boredom, only a rhythm that has become familiar and fitting. After finishing her work, Tusan returns home, not rushing, not slowing down, just keeping the same pace, the way she always does. Everything happens naturally. No need for arrangement, no need for too much preparation. She takes her child to visit the grandparents. A simple action, not something big, yet full of meaning. Small footsteps, familiar calls, simple greetings. No need for long conversations, no need for explanations. Just showing up is enough to create connection. The atmosphere in the house has no tension, no awkward silence, but closeness. A feeling that is very clear. Even if no one says it out loud, it can still be felt. Simple questions, familiar responses. Not formal, not for show, but genuine care. Coming from presence, from being together. Tusan doesn't need to try to impress, doesn't need to say too much, doesn't need to prove anything. Just being there is enough. Enough to see that she has a life where there is not only work, not only worries, but also connection, family, people who are always there. Not loud, not showy, not needing to be displayed, yet existing very clearly, very firmly. And it is exactly that presence, those seemingly ordinary things, that become an important part, keeping her life balanced, grounded. And from this point, the contrast between two lives, two circumstances, two directions, begins to emerge more clearly, even without being spoken. It is already quietly appearing within each moment. But in another thread of the story, there were no longer familiar scenes, no longer a steady rhythm, no longer a sense of peace that could be felt through small everyday actions. Instead, everything was gradually unfolding in a completely opposite direction. A different space, a different atmosphere, and more importantly, a state without stability, without control, but overshadowed by pressure and things beyond control. This was the family of Tusan's ex-husband, where what was happening was no longer simple daily life, no longer light conversations, but a problem, very specific, very clear, and very heavy. There, Trang and Tone, the daughter and son-in-law, were facing a situation no one wanted, and no one had prepared for. There were no warning signs, no time to adjust, just an incident that happened, and immediately brought a chain of consequences, weighing down on everything. She, the elder in the family, the one who should have been the pillar, the careful one, the one who kept things from going too far, had now become the center of the issue, because she had been scammed. Not just a few million, not a small amount that could be ignored, but more than 100 million VND, a number not only large in value, but also significant in impact, enough to disrupt every plan, every balance they once had. For them, it was not just money, but savings, time, everything they had preserved, little by little, over many days. And now, almost all of it was gone. The atmosphere of the conversation was no longer gentle, no longer simple exchanges, but a heaviness, spreading through every word, every look. No one wanted to make things worse, but no one could stay silent. The worry was visible, without needing to be spoken. The disappointment could not be hidden, even when trying to hold it back. And the blame, though unwanted, still began to appear. Trang was the one who showed it most clearly. She could not hide her emotions, could not remain calm as if nothing had happened. She didn't understand, and could not accept, why her mother continued to trust investment offers that were unclear, without foundation. When? This was not the first time. That mistake was not something new, but something that had happened before. And, because of that, her disappointment did not come only from the lost money, but also from the fact that the lesson still seemed not enough to stop it. The questions she asked were not meant to hurt, but carried frustration, not meant to blame, but could not remain unsaid. Tone sat beside her, maintaining his composure, not reacting too strongly, not letting emotions take over. But that silence was not indifference. It was control of a pressure. He clearly understood. This problem could not be solved immediately, could not be fixed with just a few words, and certainly could not be taken lightly. Every month, they faced fixed expenses, over 20 million, a number not easy to manage when their income was unstable, irregular, with no guarantee. Because of that, this incident was not only about losing money, but also brought longer-term worries. What would the next months be like? How would they maintain everything? How could they avoid falling into deeper difficulty? Amid the exchanges, no one turned away. No one abandoned the other. But the gentleness was gone, replaced by tension between responsibility and reality. They did not want to blame, because she was family, did not want to make things heavier, but could not stay silent when the issue was so clear. They wanted to help, to share the burden, to solve it together, but were held back by one thing: their ability. Not enough. Not enough to carry everything. Not enough to fix it immediately. Not enough to restore things to how they were. And that made the conversation unable to soften, but instead stretch on. In tension. No one left. No one gave up. But no one was truly at ease. And then, after everything, after all the words spoken, after the emotions that could not be hidden, after the piling worries, they still held on to one thing, one choice. Not because everything was okay, not because a solution had been found, but because they did not choose to walk away, did not choose to let go, did not allow this problem to become distance between them. They chose to stay, to face it together, to find a way, step by step, even if slow, even if difficult, even if the outcome was still unclear. They kept going, not because it was easy. Usually began to appear, with no warning, no sign that would immediately draw attention. But precisely because of that silence, it became even harder to grasp. In a rural area where strangers rarely passed by, where everyone knew each other, through greetings, through everyday encounters, the appearance of a stranger could not easily go unnoticed. That person came, without haste, without noise, just slow steps, short questions, but directed toward a very specific name. Bathoa. No one knew who that person was. No one knew where they came from. And no one understood why they had come to this exact place. At this exact time, the questions asked were not many, not overwhelming, but enough to make those listening feel that something was not quite normal. Not because the content of the questions was unusual, but because the one asking was a complete stranger, with no connection, no clear relationship. Glances began to be exchanged, without words, but everyone shared the same thought, a quiet suspicion, not negative, but a natural caution, toward something unclear. That stranger did not stay long, did not create further attention. After a few questions, simply left, just as they had come, quietly, but leaving behind not the same normalcy as before, but a gap, a question, without an answer, a small detail, yet enough to make everything no longer exactly the same. In another development, the story shifted back to a more familiar place. Hai returned to his hometown. Not a random return, not a purposeless trip, but a return, carrying thoughts, carrying intentions, and plans that were beginning to take shape. He sat down with his family, not rushing into the main topic, not creating tension, but a conversation that unfolded slowly, clearly, and thoughtfully. Each word was not spoken casually, but had been considered beforehand. He began to mention a plan to build a new house. Something not small, not just a change of living space, but a shift, a milestone in the journey ahead. The atmosphere of the conversation held no pressure, no immediate decisions, but rather an exchange, listening, and careful consideration of each opinion. Just like everything else, not fast, but moving forward, not rushed, but with direction. A new beginning was gradually forming, not instantly clear, but enough to feel that everything was changing in a more positive way. Meanwhile, in another place, the space returned to familiarity. Tusan continued her life, unaffected by the changes elsewhere, unaffected by things not yet clear. She remained there, within her familiar rhythm, taking care of Ivy, maintaining her daily habits, doing what she had always done. No disruption, no major change, just days passing by, gently, steadily, clearly, without needing to show too much. without needing to say it out loud. It could still be felt. The peace, existing, in every moment. Two people, two spaces, two completely different places. Not side by side, not appearing at the same time, yet not separated. Not by presence, but by care. A connection, invisible, yet always there. Quiet, but strong. And perhaps, only when placing these two storylines side by side, when looking at each detail, each circumstance, do people begin to realize something very clear, yet not always easy to see. Life does not move in the same way for everyone. Not everyone shares the same rhythm. Not everyone stands at the same stage. Some people are gradually stabilizing, step by step building, maintaining balance within simple things, while others are still struggling within pressure, within difficulties, unable to find a clear direction, not because they are wrong, not because they are weaker, but simply because they are at a different moment, a moment where everything is not yet clear, not yet stable, and because of that, questions begin to appear, not to be answered immediately, but to open up. What lies ahead? What will Tieu San's ex-husband's family do to deal with the debt weighing on them? Who is the stranger looking for Bathoa? Is that appearance a coincidence, or the beginning of something yet to be revealed? And the seemingly peaceful life of Tieu San, will it continue as it is? Or are there changes quietly approaching that she has not yet noticed? All of it still lies ahead, still without answers. And the story is still continuing. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Xin chào mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình đang làm video của Tiểu San nha mọi người. Bây giờ thì mình vẫn chưa có làm xong. Đang trong quá trình làm video. Thì video của Tiểu San hôm nay thì có một chút đặc biệt. Về việc bố Hải tìm đến Tiểu San này, về đầu tiên là việc thám tử liên hệ với Hải để nói về người đàn ông đang tìm anh, cũng như là cái vấn đề của gia đình chồng cũ Tiểu San. Mọi người thì thấy được hai mặt hoàn toàn trái ngược với cuộc sống sau ly hôn của Tiểu San cũng như gia đình chồng cũ. Vậy thì mọi người có thấy mừng cho Tiểu San hay có thấy Hải khi mà gia đình chồng cũ đã gặp phải quả báo hay không, hay là lại thương cho họ? Thì hãy để lại ý kiến để cho mình cùng biết nhé. Tạm biệt mọi người.